Hey, Money Masters. Hope you guys are doing well. I hope you've had a blessed holiday weekend. Hope everybody remains safe and all of that jazz, right? I'm here. I am Lexi Johnson, by the way, if you're new to this broadcast, and I'm here with a new episode of The Wealth Seed. And listen, here is where we help women entrepreneurs to change the face of wealth. Yes, that is the mission that we are on. We are here learning how to build wealth. And guess what? Guess what? Even now, in today's day and time, with everything that's going on, we haven't had it declared officially yet that we're in a recession, I don't think. Um, but looks like that way, right? But even with all of that going on, you can still build wealth. Now is always the best time to build wealth, and I'm going to give you a couple reasons why it is, right? So I listed a scripture in the description that comes from Esther chapter 4 verse 14. And for those of you that may be familiar, with the Bible, familiar with the story of Esther, we know that she was part of the Jewish people. The king at that time, Mordecai, was looking. It was a lot of things going on. He was looking for a new wife, and Esther ended up being part of, the pickings, if you will, that he would go through and decide, one of these ladies are going to be my wife. But her uncle, and I said the king's name was Mordecai. I'm sorry, her uncle's name was Mordecai. Her uncle said to her, listen, um, this is a work. He's encouraging her here, like, this is a work that you got to do, right? Who knows that you might have been born for such a time as this. Now, I'm not word for word quoting the scripture. So again, go to Esther chapter 4, read the whole chapter. But verse 14, I believe, is where it's at. And that is, we can take those words and, learn from those words, have lessons for our life from those words as well, right? God is very intentional, right? God is very, very intentional. And having said that, I believe that he's so intentional that even the day and time and age in which we are born, God knew that this is the day and time and age that we were born. This is the day and time and age in which he would have us to be born. So he knew long before we knew, right, that we would be facing this day and time. And so this is not a time to panic or anything like that, especially for those of us who are believers, right? This is not a time for us to panic. This is a time for us to lean more into God, to listen to his direction, and to follow his direction, because he will never, never, never steer us wrong. And one of the things that there's another scripture that goes something sort of like generation being wiser in its own time, right? And so as we think about these different scriptures, I want you to also to think about this. Every time we have had a recession, every time we have had a depression, every time, whenever we think that the economy is really bad, right, and people are not doing well, then what we've also found is that many billionaires, millionaires have been born, right? Or many people have created wealth even during these times. Hey, Apostle Anita, good to see you. And if you're watching, go ahead, let me know who you are, where you're watching from. If I'm able to see who you are through StreamYard here, I'll certainly acknowledge you in your comments. So anytime we have had this very rough period of time, there have been wealthy people born out of these times, right? And so it all comes down to what our where our head is at. What is our perspective, right? Because if you're focused on all of the negative aspects of what we're going through financially, then that's what you're going to experience, right? But if your mind is open to how can I move in this day and time so that I continue to create wealth, you know, then guess what? That's how you're going to move that, and you are going to experience creating wealth. Well, today I want to, before I dig more into this topic, I want to share with you our crazy money story for today. And then we're going to talk about um, something very interesting, the different ages over the period of time, over our lifetime, or even before our lifetimes, right? I'm going to talk about the different ages that and how people were able to build wealth, and what age we're in now, and how if you take advantage of the age that we're in right now, you will be able to build wealth too. All right. So let's talk about our crazy money story for today. Listen, people can make money all kinds of ways, right? I have always said that uh, people will create a product, and certainly somewhere in the world there is a demand for it. Somebody wants it somewhere, and it doesn't even have to be hundreds of thousands of people, millions of people that want it. If you have a corner of people that want what you are providing, that's even better, because you can actually charge a lot for it, right? But anyway, so there is this man. He's from Japan. His name is, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, his name is Shoji Morimoto. He's 38 years old. I think he's 38 years old. And what he has done is he has built sort of this following by offering himself just as a warm body who can simply be there if you need him to be there, right? And when I say just be there, that's exactly what I mean. In fact, he has been nicknamed Rental San. Again, he's from Japan. All right. He's inspired television series. He's had three books he's inspired, and he has drawn international attention. He has viral social media posts and all kinds of things, right? So what exactly does he do? Well, his gigs are varied, but it's all about the same thing, right? It's just showing up and doing nothing. Let me explain. So, in one case, he waited at the finish line of a marathon for a client who wanted to see a familiar face at the end of the race. That was it. Apparently, maybe this client didn't have anyone who could be there at the race. Not sure what that person's, family situation is, or friend situation is, or whatever. But he was not going to have a familiar face at the end of the race that day, and so he hired uh, Morimoto to just be there at the end of the race so that he could see a familiar face when he crossed that finish line, right? Someone else hired him to sit with them while they finished their thesis. Okay, just sit there, you know. And I think about it. I mean, I know it sounds crazy, but seriously, I remember being in a position of, doing some homework, sometime writing papers, doing thesis, all that kind of stuff when I was in my doctorate program, and how much, just having other people around. We didn't have to say anything, but we would be at the library together, and each of us working on our own assignments. Did wonders for me. Never knew I should, maybe I could hire that out, right? So he's done that. I've also done that in terms of business, right? With some of my mastermind sisters, where we sit and um, we just get on Zoom, and we're just in the Zoom. We're not talking. We're each just doing our work, right? Because just the presence of other people working or doing the same thing can sometimes give you the energy you need to get it done, right? So these are the types of things, like I said, it's varied, but these are the types of things that he does. Sometimes he just shows up and listens to people, right? Sometimes he is hired, like one lady hired him. She was going to eat lunch by herself. So she hired him just to sit and eat lunch with her. Crazy, right? But hey, so he charges 10,000 yen, which at the time of this article, when I saw it, was about $85 per session in US dollars. Um, and he's most frequently hired to accompany people who are at some type of turning point in their life, or, I don't know. He'll just be there with no judgment, okay, and away from your personal space. So he's not in your personal space or anything. He's just there. craziness, right? Like, oh my goodness, I'm sitting here thinking maybe I should hire myself out to do. I mean, $85 to show up and do nothing for, you know. Now the period of time, may cause me to charge a little bit more or whatever. I don't know, but that's absolutely crazy. What do y'all think about that? Let me know what your thoughts and comments are about that. I thought that was a crazy story to share, but again, also showing that you can come up with an idea and it may seem like the craziest idea. It may seem like the most off the wall idea. It may seem like nobody would ever be interested in it, but hey, you know what I'm saying? Like, who knew you could just hire yourself out to do nothing? Now, there are other people, variations of this, right? Because we've heard of the people being hired out to hug, cuddle, all these types of things, right? So, anyway, maybe it's something you can add to your streams of income. All right, so now let's talk about um, how you can build wealth even now, and especially as it relates to us living in this day and time, in this age, because God has certainly created us for such a time as this. So I wanted to go back through kind of the different ages that we've been through as it relates to creating wealth, right? So the and I don't have necessarily dates. You can go and look these things up because I didn't want to be here all day trying to just explain each and every age. I just wanted to go through them and then tell you where we are today. But the earliest probably was agriculture, the age of agriculture. Okay, so if you were in that industry, growing food, all that kind of stuff, you make money. Okay, then there came the industrial age, and this came right about one of the world wars. Okay, where people stopped, because most everybody, if you all don't know it, really most people were entrepreneurs. Okay, before there was this notion of going to work. Okay, and so around, I believe is one of the world wars, is when people started to go to work. They started to build manufacturing plants and factories and all that stuff, and now people started to go to work. And that was called the industrial age. Okay, that was called the industrial age. Then, when you had the industrial age, then after that you had the distribution age. And the crazy thing about this, as I go through these, is that you'll see that each age set up the next one, right? Like when you create a product, and I believe I've said this here before too, when you create a product, don't just think about the product that you're creating, because your product may also create other needs, at least 10 other needs. Okay, and so what was happening is as we were moving from one age to the next age would create, or set up for the next. Okay, because agriculture, it's like, okay, well, now we got to have a way of getting, doing the things in bulk, right? Getting things out. So the industrial age, okay, now we're able to do things in bulk, but we've got to do a better job of getting things out to people, and not just to people locally, but people across the nation and even internationally, right? So then you have the distribution age that comes and helps that to happen, right? And also in the distribution age, just so you know, I just brought this out because I knew that I was part of this, but also it's part of the distribution age, which started in the 70s. You had multi-level marketing. That's when that came about. Discount malls, all of those types of things start to come out because it was about distribution, right? And so if you were in if you caught the wave, or not caught the wave, but you were right there at the beginning of that wave and you got on and you made a lot of money. Okay. After the distribution age, though, then was the technology age. Okay. And so if you were at the forefront of that, you were smart enough to see it coming, you you got wealthy. Right now, we can still in this day and time get wealthy from technology, but in different ways, right? So let's keep going. So then you have the technology age, then you have the information age. Okay, And so the information age, again, because the technology age created created that problem that we had need of the information, right? So now, if you got out there and you caught that wave early enough, or in time, or you just was able to get in there, right? You were able to make money, information, selling your information all over the place, right? Because we had the internet, all those things to come about. Then after that, we had a combination of the technology and the information age. Okay. So this gave birth to cassette tapes and videotapes and, all of these types of things, right? And then we progressed through that age and moved into what we call the partnership age. Okay. In the partnership age, give you an example, it's like using Amazon, because Amazon used to just be about books, right? And so now Amazon said, we're not going to just do our own books, but if you have books to put on our platform, right? And, we caught the wave with distribution or whatever, but if you have books to put on our platform, you can get wealthy that way, right? The two coming together, very strategic partnerships. Same with Apple, right? Apple said, hey, if you create an app, put it in our, app store so people can have access to it all over wherever we have iPhones, right? Because the iPhone was created in, I think, '07. Then people were able to take advantage of that. So strategic partnerships, right? Now, listen, we are still in the partnership age, but it has taken on kind of a new face. Okay. We are not just in the age of partnerships, but now we're in the age of digital partnerships. Okay. Now listen, y'all. Like I said, we were created for such a time as this. Okay. We are not living in this day and time for no reason at all. And the issue with a lot of us, the reason why we don't get wealthy, and I talked about this last week. One, first of all, is mindset, right? Second, is because we're still living in the past and trying to create wealth with ages past, right? Like some of us, so like for example, the industrial and the distribution ages, right? That stuff worked great for our parents and grandparents, okay? They were able, especially the industrial, right? They were able to go find a job. They were able to stay on that job for, 30, 40 plus years, retire with a pension and all that good stuff. And it worked for them. Okay. But that's not what's working for us. And that's not what's going to work for tomorrow. We have to always, keep our eye out and keep moving with the times in that sense, right? Like my children. So when I started working, yeah, I could go and work for a company, but they had then since changed over to 401ks, and people weren't staying on the jobs as long anymore. I think our generation, and I'm Generation X, was the last generation where you could hear somebody say they stayed on the job 15, 20 years. Okay. After you don't hear that anymore. Okay. You're not hearing that anymore. And so digital partnerships, that's where we are. Okay. That's where we are right now. And so remember what I said, even in recessions and depressions and all of these things, there were still a lot of millionaires and a lot of billionaires who have come up, who started when the times were like these. Okay. And you can too, right? You have to recognize the time and the era in which we live. Okay. And take advantage of that. So we live in an age of digital partnerships. Well, what the heck is that, Lexi? So glad you asked. So digital partnership, this is the collaboration between two companies or an influencer where the two parts share a target audience as well as service or product that benefit each other. And in this case, digital products, okay? Digital products and things of that nature, okay? So let's talk about this a little bit more, because strategic partnerships, right, they're not new. Okay, they've grown, and now they're growing even more in the digital space. Okay, so partnerships are not new, but the digital partnership is fairly new and it continues to grow. Okay. And these are active collaborations, again, between organizations that are their focus is to capitalize on new digital opportunities, right? Um, the truth is that there is no one company organization that possesses all of the data, all of the digital skills, all of the capability to win over today's demanding um, and dynamic digital customer. Okay. Then listen, COVID certainly shoved everybody into the digital, whether you wanted to go or not. Okay. Because we weren't going out and meeting and seeing people face to face anymore, and people really had to redefine or relook at their business models, and they had to make a shift if they wanted to stick around through COVID, right? So digital innovation um, is where you bring your digital assets, I bring mine, we combine them, we get great new value propositions and even new business models. Okay. Now, I say that and I say it like it's very, very simple. Um, we know that, this takes some work or whatever. Partnering just takes work. Okay. Because you have to find the right people to partner. And first of all, you have to have the right mindset. Everything begins with mindset. You have to have the right mindset to partner. Okay. Excuse me, I had to sneeze. So going for partnerships, um, it takes a certain mindset. There's a relationship between you and the other people. Excuse me, I don't know where all these sneezing is coming from. There is a relationship between you and the other people, the other companies, whatever involved, that you've got to manage, and so that you can capture the value, right? So, we use the term business partners very loosely these days. Oh, this is my business partner. Oh, that we partner. We do that. We partner. But the truth is that sure we can partner, but not very many are partner able, meaning they are able to come together, and both what they bring to the table makes a difference for everyone involved, for them, for you, for the for your clients, and whomever is on the end, at the end game of your digital product, right? The end user, that's the word I'm looking for, right? Partnering requires focusing on others and focusing on shared objectives. And some of us just don't have that down yet, right? Some of us are still very much focused on what can I get out of this and not necessarily what can we get out of this, right? So partnership demands a certain mindset. Now, there are different types of partnership strategies. I'll name 4 very quickly, and there may be some others, but there's the supplier partner. And this is where you have an existing supplier relationship, and making the most out of that relationship requires a supplier to take a digital detour, right? Like they are going to, you know, via its customer service. So they're going to help you so whether they have lower cost alternatives, because we know digitally things can cost cheaper because it doesn't have to cost as much. Um, like if I want an ebook, that's a great example. Okay. An ebook, you can get an ebook for a few bucks. Okay. Why? Because there's not a physical book that needs to be shipped from one physical location to another. Instead, you pay a few bucks, you can download it online, and you've got your ebook, right? And so you have someone like Amazon who can give you the platform, right, to do that, and you supply the book, right? So that's one. Another one is collaborative, okay, partnership. Um, this involves 2 or more organizations that come together, bring their complementary digital assets with the intent to um, invent and commercialize a new customer solution. Okay, so I have a product, you have a digital product, we're going to bring them together and create something new. All right, so collaborative innovation partnership. And then another one is the innovation component platform is what they call. So this involves you open up a proprietary digital asset, okay, and then it's set up in a way that it can be easily reused by a larger number of external innovators. I'm sorry, y'all, for all the sneezing. So anyway, to give you an example of that, my husband and I own a smart TV network. Okay, the platform that we use it because we don't have to create our own platform. They already have the entire setup, right? Like we don't have to go and reinvent the wheel. They already have it. And so now we just come along with our content, and we have very minimal things that we need to do in order to put the content up on the channel. I'm sorry, y'all. But we didn't have to worry about, all kinds of other things that would be needed to run a digital channel, because this platform has already taken care of all of that, right? All right. And then the fourth and last one before I be overcome with sneezes is the partnership platform. Okay. So in other words, you become a matchmaker. So this company over here has a digital asset, and they need another company with a digital asset that they don't have, and they're looking for that. And so you become the matchmaker, and so you can, win that way. So that's 4 strategies there. There are different ones. Of course, these things aren't built like overnight. Thank you for the blessings, Pastor. These things aren't built overnight, right? And again, you've got to, be mindful of who you partner with and making sure that everybody's on the same page, because the Bible even speaks to, partnerships, right? Iron sharpens iron and one man sharpens another. Proverbs 27:17 also talks about, do 2 walk together unless they have agreed to meet. Amos 3:3. And so, especially for us as people of faith, we have to be very, very mindful who we're partnering with to ensure that everything is being done unto the glory of God, right? We don't want to be partnering with people who have no concern of God, and that's going to affect the way your service or your product brings glory to God, right? So that's that. I'm going to get out of here because I don't understand what's going on with these sneezes, but I hope that you all got something out of today's broadcast. And I am Lexi Johnson. I'm an international speaker. I am an author. I am a financial coach, consultant, advisor. I'll see you guys next time, where we will continue to be on a mission to change the face of wealth. Love you guys. Bye.